And welcome back to Baseball Barbacast. We are now very excited to be joined by Iowa's own Brody Brecht. Brody, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. How you doing?
The pride of the Hawkeye State.
Yes. So you talk to kids.
My first question, you got a lot of tats on that arm.
I do got a lot of tats.
Any Iowa-related ink?
Ooh.
Negative.
Not yet.
Oh,
Not yet. Should I get a Tiger Hawk right here? I still got to finish the sleeve, so maybe I'll get a Tiger Hawk or something.
Well, I was going to say, it feels like Iowa, born and raised, right? Like the dream, you lived out the dream to go play at Iowa, play football at Iowa, play baseball at Iowa. I mean, was there an ounce at any point along as you're growing up, 13, 14, that you are going to leave Iowa to play college sports? Was there ever a doubt?
Yeah, well, like just like football, like Ohio State, I would say was like my football dream school. Like I wanted to go to Ohio State, especially like being a receiver. I mean, they got countless dudes just year after year first rounders. So I didn't get an offer from Ohio State, so
it worked out.
Yeah. But I mean, like I always loved Texas. Like like UT. Like I thought their colors were sick.
Sure.
Like,
colors. It's amazing how much.
I fell in love with UNC as a kid.
Oh, exactly. I mean, I love UNC. Well, we played them in a regional last year, at Indiana State regional, and in the dugout, we're just like,
damn,
dude, those unis are so sick. Like Forbes got the Jordans on. We're like, oh man, that's so nice.
And you guys at Iowa have a great set. That's a great set.
It's nice. It's nice. Yeah.
So we first saw you last year.
Yeah.
At the Round Rock invitation, we saw you guys had these alt hats. That I was like, these are sweet.
Oh yeah.
So we were, again, but you're used to it. You've grown up with Iowa, so it's like you're kind of numb
you get used to it. Yeah.
You're like, of course, whatever. That's Hawkeyes. That's the stuff. But I am curious. Again, as we've alluded to, you mentioned your dream was to play football at Ohio State or maybe Texas, whatever. Football and baseball. That's the Brody Brecht story, as we've learned. But we've talked to a couple other guys today who've had football, baseball backgrounds, but we're curious, what sports do you kind of suck at?
Yeah, was there anything
because clearly football and baseball.
I'm trying to get the golf game improved right now.
So when you say improved, oh my God, you must hit the driver so far.
No, I mean I smoke it, but it's sure. I mean, is it straight?
No,
maybe every once in a while.
And your short game is probably just buns right now.
Yeah, I can't chip.
But we got to rewind further.
Yeah,
what about when you're younger? I mean,
I gave soccer a shot. I didn't really like it. Like I like the hand,
hand eye.
Yeah. I didn't like just like running and kicking. Like I wanted to use my hands and like catch something.
Fair enough.
I'll say basketball. I wasn't I'm not really a shooter. Like I was like paint beast.
Were you more of an enforcer?
Dirty work. Like that was my specialty.
It's not
Brechtman gets paid.
It's not showing up in the box score. You're not necessarily
plays, man. I'm there.
You're a winning ball player.
You want me on your team? I'm Draymond Green, baby.
You can throw down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. I used to like when I was playing football. I used to like really throw down.
You could really,
but now I don't like. I don't like. I don't really go now, and I put on a little bit of weight after football.
Okay,
so.
but when
you look not as explosive.
But when did you dunk for the first time?
I think my freshman year of high school was the first time I dunked.
Okay,
but then I like stopped. So I didn't play basketball in my high. So like I played like up until my freshman year. So like that summer. But then I didn't play like in high school, so like I dunked then, and I like really didn't even like try again until like sophomore year.
Okay, so you mentioned football, and football for you is kind of such a major part of the story. You go to Iowa to play two sports at the same time.
Yeah.
And when you're in high school and you're like, I want to go play two sports at the same time, how did your expectation of what it was going to be differ from what it actually was?
Yeah. Well, so me, like, I mean, I always stayed busy my whole life. Like, I was always, I was football, right into basketball, and then right into, track, baseball, and baseball went through the summer again. So, and then my high school year, I wanted to take a break a little bit. I wanted like a, time. So I stopped playing basketball, focused on baseball and football, and I ran track just to, stay in shape, stay fast, whatever. And so like when I was going into college, like I thought it was kind of I feel like I did a really good job balancing it in high school and whatever. But college is a whole nother like deal, like just with how much they ask of you, especially at that level. And Iowa football, they're it's tough workouts. Like that's kind of their edge. The Iowa edge is like going into deep waters. That's kind of what they say. And so I think I wasn't expecting it that much of a grind from the football side of things, and just how long and how much more film study it takes and that stuff. So I think that was definitely a wake up call, especially that first semester, and learning like a actual pro playbook, like because it's not like high school. We were air raid.
High school's like give Brody a rock, throw it
up. Deep and throw it up, and we're there. But yeah, so I mean, like learning a new playbook, like that's something I never had to do. Like I was like football. I mean, it was the same playbook for 4 years. Like it was, really easy, really simple. Like so, it was definitely something I had to get used to.
Well, it's also you turn the clock back to a guy like Bo Jackson, right? Whenever we think about two sports, it's Bo. The level of competition in both of those sports when he was playing was lower than what it is now.
Yeah.
Where having year-long specialization in whatever you're doing is almost vital to being the best version of yourself, right? Like,
you have to.
Especially for pitching.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned it before we started recording, not being able to focus on your development as a pitcher in the fall, and not being able to focus on your development as a wide receiver in the spring is going to stunt your ceiling in both of those things.
Exactly. And that's why, like, I always wonder, what if I would have played baseball for 3 full years? What if I would have played football for 3 full years? Where would I be? But at the end of the day, this was God's plan for me, and I'm really, I wouldn't change anything that's happened. But like you said, like I've always wondered, what if I, would have just played football? Because like you said, like it's like I never the first 2 years of baseball, I never had opportunity to work on mechanics. Like it was always like get the arm up in January and let's throw mid-February. That's what it was. We were going and going, and then like in football. Like my freshman year, I tried to grind it out, tried to do, spring ball, tried to do both. Body broke down, couldn't really do it. It was late night. Like it was
I'm
just
tired. And you have to pass classes.
Right?
Like it is a school.
Damn it.
Like Brody, it is also a school, right?
Most people go to college. It's college. But you're right. You're balancing all that. Now, again, you fast forward to now, this past season, you were able to focus on baseball full time.
I want to ask about the decision specifically. Right? So I'm sure a ton of time and effort and consideration and conversation went into making that decision. The day that you actually made it, when it went out, when you announced it, I remember the graphic on Twitter that you posted, right? When that went out and you got the response, how was that different from what you thought? Like, walk me through that day of what, frankly, was so far the biggest decision you've ever had to make in your life.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people thought it was like a super easy decision, like, oh, he's going to go play baseball, he's going to go to the MLB. Like, it was a super easy decision for me. Like, it was the hardest decision for me. Like, even coming out of high school, like, where I want to go to college, draft or, go to Iowa. Like, it was like, I thought that was a hard decision. This was the hardest decision by far. Just like I told you guys earlier, like, football is and probably always will be like my first love. Like, that's always been my dream. And so you had to weigh your options. Like, do I want to do something that I really, really love, or do I want to pursue what I think I can be great at? And so it was just kind of weighing that was just super difficult for me. And, at the end of the day, like, I've always wanted to, be a professional athlete, and I've always wanted to be the best. And so when I look at the two roads, I'm like, which one's more realistic? Where can we go? And, obviously, leaning towards the baseball route.
Here you are.
Here I am.
That will be draft combine.
Wrong combine. This is actually Phoenix and not Indy. Come on,
shoot. Wrong play.
Wrong play. But again, and we haven't said this out loud on this interview, so for people who are listening, part of the reason you are here is because you throw really hard. Now, when we say really hard, people's brains as baseball fans, we have a different perspective on that now, right? Everyone in the majors feels like they throw 95. Brody Brecht Jordan is a different thing.
Yeah, and I just remember, high school senior year, because, again, you have all this other stuff going on with the football. It happened pretty late. And I remember, I don't know if the velocity popped that season, but walk me through kind of that transformation.
So I think, junior year, sophomore year, I was like, I think 90, 93. And then junior year, that's kind of when it kind of started to pick up a little bit. That's when I was like kind of 2 to 4, touch of 5, but then.
But you weren't sitting at 6, 7 innings.
But then in the state semifinals, I pitched against, or state quarterfinals, I pitched against Pleasant Valley, and the adrenaline must have been flowing. I was like,
as a junior?
I was 95, 97, hit an 8. Like, I mean, I hadn't really done that all year. And so that kind of just popped up. And then that winter, I got a DM from a Diamondback scout, and I was like, what is this? Because my mind was set on going to Iowa, right? So I never even thought about that. So everything happened super late. So then it was that January, February, I threw a couple pens for teams and whatnot, and then that kind of summer, everything kind of just exploded.
But that's the big difference, and that's why your story is so interesting in that high school timeline is because you're in Iowa. The games aren't starting until April, right?
Like end of May.
In May, right? And so
if this dude is in Orlando,
that's the thing. It's a very different story because now you have months and months of what we're seeing that. Now to that point though, I'm so curious. You keep mentioning that love for football, whenever. Obviously, that maybe that'll always be there, right? But as this is happening, as you're throwing harder in the mound, you're kind of figuring yourself out as a pitcher. I imagine now you start to think about, oh, wait a minute, now this actually might be my path. So when does that start to click for you? Is it in high school at that point? Is it not until you get to Iowa?
No, I don't think it. I mean, I really don't even think it was probably till, I mean, really since like after my sophomore year of football at Iowa, I think that's really when I started to like, you know, like, dude, I kind of want to do this baseball thing. Like, I think this can be something, right? And I mean now, I like every single day, my love for baseball grows, like,
for sure.
And it's not even more so just like, it's just like the competing aspect of it, like just the day to day. Like for me, like football, you know, it's once a week, you know, one game you're out there. Like baseball, it's every 5 days. You know, you're getting going, and I don't know. I just love competing, and you know, whether football, baseball, basketball, golf, whatever. I'm gonna tear your head off to win. Like.
So where was your first 100? Okay, because I think what is most interesting about you as a player is that a lot of guys throw 100, very few sit 100, right? That's a very short list, particularly at the college level. Again, Paul Skeens has warped all of our brains. You know, you saw him in person last year. We were there. I mean, it's a different thing, right?
Wild.
But you're sitting 100. But where were you when you hit triple digits for the very first time?
It was my first live set at Iowa my freshman year.
Okay. All right. Who's this guy? I think he is. He's a football guy. All right.
So is this in the fall? No, it couldn't have been in the fall.
So January. So I think
like inside.
I threw a bullpen in December. And I think I was like 95, 96, and then I threw like 2 more bullpens before our first live set. So this would have been like middle of January.
But you're inside. It's all inside.
We're inside, and so I was like, I think I was. Like 6'7", touch of 8 or whatever.
And none of the guys really know you too well. I mean, you had, I'm sure, interacted with some of the baseball guys outside of the field, but you're not
didn't
around.
Know, other than like the guys in my class, I really didn't know a whole lot or whatever. But then
who's this freshman?
But then I mean, first live set, like first pitch was like 101 point, or not 101. It was like 100.4 or something. Like
in January.
Yeah. And then freshman year was actually like the hardest I was.
You were really.
Like, because I was like coming out the pen, you know, only throwing.
Sure. It's a little different.
2 innings at a time, or whatever. So I was sitting, you know.
But you mentioned and that evolution and what you refer to as the love for baseball growing, but the love for competing, that's clearly been there your whole life, right? And you had that in high school. You had the opportunity to compete there. But I think back to when we saw you in that outing that you had in Round Rock, which you probably remember, was one of the more memorable ones because
it was against LSU.
It was the most dominant 8-walk performance I've ever seen.
Crazy.
Okay, so
ridiculous.
But when we watch and we think about that, and we think about the progress that you made, particularly this season, when you have the opportunity to really figure it out, and every start you're learning on the fly because again you haven't had those reps in the fall, you haven't had those that. I imagine that's just like fun, like because it's almost this experimental is maybe not the right word, but is that what it felt like when you're really learning it as you go?
My little sister had a milk allergy, not lactose intolerant, like a bad milk allergy until she was like 13. And then it went away as she grew up. And then we had like these 3 to 4 years where she was just trying random dairy stuff. It's like, like cheddar is crazy.
To that point, for you, is it like every week you get out there and it's like, all right, cool. So I'm learning this. Is that kind of how it was over those last couple of years?
I mean, like just like this being my first full year of baseball, like I just feel like I'm scratching the surface. Like each time I go out there, like I feel like there's something, like you said, new I learn about myself. You know, like I don't know, I love it. Like I started. Like, and I really do feel like I'm just scratching the surface. Like, I started, like, the last 5 weeks of the year, I started meeting with a mental performance coach named Brian Kane, and he works with, like, a lot of, top guys. And, like, I mean, I really felt like I was the best pitcher in the country the last 5 weeks.
And you could see that. And you look at the game logs, you could say, oh, Brody's figuring it out.
Exactly.
Brody's figuring it out. And it seems like that is what that felt like.
And, like, I feel like I started the year pretty strong. And then I had like a, kind of that middle third of the season. Like, that's kind of when I struggled a little bit. Like, my arm path was kind of, getting a little different. My slider was kind of getting backed up, and so I kind of really had to, kind of throw up my splitter a lot, just kind of spam that because my slider was getting backed up and it was getting hit. And, as much as it sucked, like, not going out there and just shoving and dominating like I wanted to, like, I'm really glad I went through it because I, had to just throw the splitter, and I developed that third
pitch. The other pitch had to learn.
And instead of throwing it, 3 times a game, or 4% of the time, I'm throwing it, 13, 14, 15% of the time. You know, it's like an actual, you know, pitch for me.
Right.
And
wait till you get into low A.
I know
it's going to be all splitters.
But that's a great transition to, I think, my last question for you, which is, as you mentioned, you feel like you're just scratching the surface. And I think that is why teams, you know, are excited about you. And I have to imagine that's why you're excited to start your pro career, because what are the possibilities, right?
Exactly.
Right.
So is that
you're a college guy, but you're also not in a way, because there's less mileage on the arm, and you just have spent less time committing to baseball. But yet I'm here talking to you, and no offense to the high school kids who sat in this chair, like, he's clearly more mature and has spent more time thinking about competing, and like, you've lived a life. And so I would imagine that once you go to, you know, some random corner of America to face minor league hitters, like, you're going to you feel prepared for that.
No, I do. I feel extremely confident right now. I mean, just, you know, watching the World Series, watching these guys out here, man, like, you know, I got that itch to, like, go out there and play, like, and just, like, riding off the momentum in the last 5 weeks and just continue to, you know, stick to my process of what I've been doing, you know, when I was working with Brian. And, like, I just really just want to carry that and keep it going and just, you know, use that throughout, you know, my career, really.
So my last question for you, as someone who, you know, played college athletics at Iowa this past year, what was the Iowa women's basketball experience like this year?
I mean,
it was unlike anything.
It was crazy. I mean, just
ever.
Not only what Caitlin did just for Iowa, but like women's basketball, women's sports, like just everything. Like, I mean, it was crazy. You got, you know, Nolan Ryan going to a game. You got Travis Scott. Nolan Ryan and Travis Scott were when she broke the record. And she pulled up from
what a combo,
half court.
That's honestly a great example of like the cultural impact.
It's
right?
crazy.
It's like the range of people that want to experience.
How many games did you get to go to?
I actually didn't go to any. I would watch. It was crazy
because it was
crazy busy.
You could you not?
I mean, I probably could have. I mean,
I
wanted to watch it on TV, man.
That's
like,
fair.
it
was pretty impressive.
I mean, and the tickets are like, I mean,
a little ridiculous.
Like
come on, you got it. You got to be
the bonus yet.
He can say, I'm bro. I know some people here, and can we pull some strings? We can't get Brody in the building.
Can we like make him an award to give him at halftime?
Well,
no, but it was a lot of fun to watch. It was awesome.
Especially also as like a Iowa born and raised athlete that she also is.
And Caitlin was too. I mean,
exactly. That's the thing. I imagine
it's just
crazy.
Well, like, I mean, I grew like my fiance, like she played against Caitlin in high school. Like, so I was like seeing Caitlin in high school. She's Gardner, and I'm like, who's that shit?
So you knew, you're like, this is.
I'm like, whoa. I'm like,
she's shooting really far away.
Like, I mean, like you could tell she was the best player on the court, and I was like, you know, who's this? And like, she was like number 4 player in the country. And I'm like, oh, like where's she going? Like UConn, and they're like, she's going to Iowa, and I was like, she's going to Iowa? I'm like, all right, let's see what happens.
Like, I'm going to Iowa.
And I'm like, yeah, no, it's like, I mean, now you got, you know, 2, you know, national championship appearances, you know, in a row, all-time scoring. I mean, it's crazy.
And that's the really cool thing is it's just the beginning, right? I mean, I was lucky enough. I went to her home debut in Indiana.
Yeah,
and it's unlike anything else.
She just brings like a whole new like fan base. Like, you know, I think it's awesome for the sport. And you know,
hey, you're the Hawkeye, man. This is Brody. You got to keep that momentum. No pressure.
Yep.
No pressure. It's probably less pressure. I mean, on one hand, it'd be like, man, wouldn't it be so cool if everyone was talking about Brody Brecht all the time, the way they are about Caitlin Clark? Honestly, let's spare you that.
Stephen A. Let's keep it on Caitlin.
Everything like, you know, she's having to deal with media, with players, targeting her or whatever it is. Like, I mean. And like for her to always take the high road, I mean,
dude, we were talking about it. We were talking about it earlier, like how she's not on the Olympic team, and we were like, I would want a nap if I was literally, dude. She goes in from her full college season. Reaches the final game of the year. It's like what, 3 weeks WNBA season starts.
2 preseason games. All right,
get on in there.
No, I know.
If I was Caitlin, I'm going to like Cabo and doing nothing.
Leave me alone.
I watched the first take episode of Stephen A. and Shannon. They're just ripping the Team USA committee. They're like,
what are we doing?
Like they watch her, like right, like I mean, just you want to grow the sport, you want to grow everything. Like, why is she not like? That's the person.
I get it. Like, if I was Caitlin, I'd be like, "Thank you so much."
Can you imagine, man?
I need a nap.
Can you imagine, like every start you had this year, people are talking for 30 minutes about that walk you had in the 3rd inning?
No, I know. Like, it's great. I mean, she's always under just a mic, like just the smallest detail. I mean, she could drop, you know, 30, 10, and 5, and she's got 3-4 turnovers, and everybody's
it's like
she's inefficient, or it's like.
Hey, we're talking about her though, but she can handle it.
Damn, it worked again.
Brody Brecht, this has been a delight.
No.
Good luck with whatever wherever is next for you. We're excited to see.
Yeah, dude,
as
like
you said, scratching the surface.
If you change your mind tomorrow and you want to do football, I'll even watch. I don't like football.
Hey, we'll see.
Brody Brecht, thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate you guys. It was a blast. Thank you.